Hey folks, this is Clay Dennis with Southern Hearth and Patio. Today we're going to talk about wood stoves. I'm going to show you some helpful hints on things to look for in wood stoves when you're out there looking, and also show you some of the key features about the wood stoves that I bring in here to sell at Southern Hearth and Patio. Our flagship line is actually Pacific Energy. Now, Pacific Energy does a couple of really interesting things that all the other wood stove companies in the world don't do. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes to show you what I think makes a good wood stove a good wood stove. One of the things that makes a good wood stove is the ability to close off the door area and make sure that you limit the amount of air or seal off the amount of air that comes into this thing. If I'm going to take the time to adjust my air here, I need to make sure that I don't have stuff creeping in all around my door seals. Most manufacturers actually use a gasketed door that you see here. And this gasket normally is thicker from the door and then presses hard against the outer shell of the stove, basically compressing itself and pushing itself nice and tight. That works to some degree, there's no doubt about that. But one of the things that I have found that by recessing this gasket and then installing what's called a knife edge seal around the outside of the stove, which all Pacific Energies do, this knife edge seal presses into the middle of the gasket. Okay? Now that means that I only have this much surface area pressing against the gasket, but I have the tightest seal in the industry. That gives me the most control over my air control, and it gives me the most controllable burn of anything I've ever experienced. One of the things I want you to notice in a Pacific Energy is that the door is super, super clean. That's actually one of the top three things that they try to build. They want to build easy to use stoves, they want to build consistently burning stoves, and then that clean door. And that's one of the things that you'll see on a Pacific Energy that you really won't see defined on other name brands. When you're talking about heat, there are three different types of heat transfer. I've got conductive heat transfer, which is if I touch it, that's going to be conductive. We don't like that. I've got convective, which is when I turn the blower on and it moves hot air. That's going to be really big for an insert. And then we have radiant heat. Radiant heat is light energy that comes out. It's very directional. It's off the visual spectrum, but what it does is it provides a great warmth around the room without running you out of the place like with a blower or a convective heater. But what I'm going to do here is I've got great radiant heat going on in the stove. You can see inside that the glass door is wonderfully clear. And then I'll turn the blower on right here. It's a variable speed blower. And now I'm going to be able to pull in cool air from the blowers on the sides, blow it out the top, and I'm going to be able to now move air throughout the rest of the home and create convective currents of warm air. After about maybe 30 minutes to an hour, you'll notice that the rest of the house really begins to feel warm. One of the things that separates the old wood stoves from the new wood stoves is the ability to burn off gases like nitrogen, carbon, methane, methanol, and some of the other products. What I'm going to do here is show you that carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and nitrogen are combustible at about 900 degrees. So what I'm going to do is as you can see, if you take a look at the wood, you'll see the wood is off-gassing. You can see the flames coming off of the wood. Okay? I'm going to shut down my primary air and take a look at the gas. In fact, if you look up at the top of the stove, you'll actually see flames shooting down from the top of the stove. That is what's happening right now is we've entered a stage called pyrolysis, and I'm actually burning carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen, and of course oxygen. If we go outside, there is absolutely no smoke coming out of the chimney. It's being burned inside this. So the stoves that we grew up on that generated 60, 70 grams per hour of particulates, this stove burns as little as 3.5 per hour. I mean, we're talking about a 97% change from just 20 years ago. Now, once we've reached that stage called pyrolysis, where I've shut down the primary air and let the secondary air take over and let basically those combustion gases burn themselves, what's going to happen is it's going to be hot enough to keep the wood burning. The wood is going to continue to feed the upper fire by releasing those gases, which continues to heat the wood. So I have a self-sustaining cyclical fire that's going to burn for hours and hours and hours. In fact, this, as you see it with the wood I have in here, is going to burn somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. Fully loaded, this particular stove can burn up to 12 hours. Now, you're not going to have a loaded flame, but you'll have a lot of hot ashes in charred burning stage of combustion, and it'll be hot enough that you can literally stoke the ashes, throw some wood in, light it off again, and go again. But I have seen the stage, even this particular stove has burned anywhere from 11 to 14 hours and been able to be relit. So those are just a few of the reasons that I carry Pacific Energy here at Southern Hearth and Patio. I just think it's a great value for the money. I think it's a well thought out stove, and it's built by people who really understand how to burn wood and what the end user really wants it to do, rather than be a commodity with some big name brand, and then offered through every channel in the world. It is a specialist wood stove, but it's built like a tank, and yet it's still affordable. So thanks for watching the Southern Hearth and Patio channel. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon.